What's going on, guys? It's Hayden. I hope you're having a good day so far. And today we're going to talk about whether right now is a good time to buy a house or whether there's some time in the future that you should be waiting for. So first, I'm just going to do a market outlook and kind of talk about what's going on in the housing market right now. And then second, I'm going to talk about things that you should be focused on in your own personal life and personal financial situation that'll help you decide whether buying a house is a good decision for you to do right now. The first thing I'm going to talk about, which is a big topic right now, is interest rates. Mortgage rates are still high, around 6.5%, whereas a year ago in 2022, they were 3.5%. Mortgage rates started climbing in the first quarter of last year after the Fed decided to raise interest rates to try to combat inflation. So the Fed funds rate that the Fed controls and other interest rates such as mortgage rates are correlated, and I go into a lot more detail about how this works in my other video called Housing Market Crash Incoming. So if you're interested in that, go check out that video. But in general, higher interest rates are bad for buyers because it greatly increases the monthly mortgage payment, and thus buyers can afford to borrow less money. An example of this is a $400,000 house that has a 20% down payment and a 3.5% interest rate. So this would result in a monthly payment of $1,437. That same $400,000 house with the same 20% down payment with a 6.5% interest rate instead of 3.5% would result in a monthly payment of $2,023 instead. So that's an increase of $586 or about 40%. There are actually two good pieces of news related to interest rates though. First, inflation numbers have come down recently. Monthly inflation for December of 2022 was actually negative 0.1%, meaning prices went down slightly during the month. This brought our total inflation for the calendar year of 2022 to 6.5%. So 6.5% is still high compared to the long-term target that the Fed has of 2%, but it's way better than what we were dealing with in the summer of 2022 when the 12-month rolling inflation was like 8 or 9%. Because inflation has come down, it could signal that the Fed may slow down their interest rate increases or even lower interest rates at some point later on in 2023. And if that happens, it would also lower mortgage rates, which would be good for home buyers. The second thing is that you could potentially refinance your mortgage at some point. So what this means is that if you get a mortgage with a 6 or 6.5% interest rate, and those rates were to go back down to, let's say, 3 or 4% in the next year or two, then you would be able to refinance, which means you could get a new loan that will pay off your old loan, and then that new loan would have that lower mortgage rate. There is a cost to doing this, but as you saw in the example, the difference in interest rate will result in such a huge difference in your monthly payment that it'll 100% be worth it in the long run. So next, I'm going to quickly touch on home supply. Home supply is typically measured in a number of months, and the way this works is that the number of months of home supply is based on how long it would take all of the homes on the market to sell at the current pace if no new ones went on the market. I'm not sure if there's updated info for December of 2022 yet. If there is, I have not seen that. But in November, the supply of homes nationally was about 3.3 months. A normal balanced market usually has 5 to 6 months of supply, but the 3.3 months of supply in November is up from 2.1 months in November of 2021. So we're definitely trending in a good direction there. And because of that, competition is nowhere near as fierce in the housing market right now as it has been in the last couple years. And the three pieces of evidence for that is that homes are selling above their listing price less often, homes are receiving less offers on average, and they're also having to stay on the market a little bit longer before they sell. And all of this is good news for people that are looking to potentially buy a home in the near future. And then lastly, we're going to talk about prices. So home price increases are actually slowing down, and evidence of this is that in October, the median price for sold homes was $371,000, which is way cheaper than the $414,000 that we saw in June. Also in June, that $414,000 median home price number was up over 10% from June of 2021, whereas the $371,000 price for November was only up 3.5% compared to November of 2021. So this is also going in a positive direction for home buyers. And finally, I'm just going to talk about how what's going on in your personal life and your financial life could dictate whether right now is a good time for you to buy. So the number one thing you should be thinking about is that if you're looking to buy a house, you should be prepared to stay in it for at least 3 to 5 years. The reason for that is you want to build some equity in your house and also get some appreciation on it so that that outweighs the real estate commissions and closing costs that you have to pay. If you end up having to sell your house early in a year or two after you buy it, there's a good chance you'll end up losing money. The second thing is job security. Obviously, you should be confident that you'll be working consistently after you buy a house because you have to be able to make the mortgage payments every month. The next thing is that buyers usually get the best mortgage rates and best deals if they have a credit score of 740 or higher. So if you aren't quite ready to buy a home right now, then it might be be a good idea to focus on building some of your credit so you could get that good deal when you are ready. I'm planning to make a whole video about building credit and how to take advantage of credit cards in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. The last thing you should consider is how much debt you already have when you're looking to buy a house. One thing lenders will look at is your debt to income ratio, and they really don't want that to be too high. I think the benchmark they use for that is around 36% or so debt to income. So if you're already making a lot of debt payments, such as student loan payments or credit card payments or car payments, then it may be harder to borrow money to buy a house. So if that's where you are right now, then it may be ideal to continue renting and work on paying down that debt, and so you'll be in a better situation when it comes time to buy a house. Personally, I'm not looking to buy a house right now, but I would say there's a chance I could start looking at some point in 2023, just depending on how my job goes and where I get a job. So learning this information was really useful for me, and so I hope it was useful for some of you guys as well. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.